I'm Jeff Stanke with Coyote Machining. I remanufacture the gauge arms for the John Deere planters. I'm here doing the video for Schaffert Manufacturing, and I'm going to show you what the benefit is on these gauge arms and how they help. I take your arm and I rebuild it, or I do exchange. And what I do is I take the arm and I mill it out, and I put bearings in it and make it tight. We don't have to grease no more on the arm because of that. What you end up with is an arm that will move freely and not need greased or need readjusted once you get it on. It comes with a shim kit for putting it on. The shims will go in between here. Once you get that set, it stays. It does not move or get out of adjustment because the bearings don't wear and it stays tight. Here's a cutout version of what it looks like with the two different bearings I use. Here they are here again. We put both of those in. We leave a shoulder in the middle inside the gauge arm so they can't move out. They're also pressed in. Comparing it to the original John Deere, when they get wore, they get really loose like that. They hang up. They need greased often. A lot of times they need tore apart and cleaned to make them work, and they need to constantly readjusted. With my arm, you get rid of all those problems, and they're basically maintenance free. Here's a comparison of the two different arms. Here's the new improved arm that I rebuild. It moves freely. There's no slack in that arm when you go push it back and forth. Here is a John Deere one. This was a used one, so it's extremely loose. When you first get them, you'll have some slack in them. It doesn't take long for them to wear, get out of adjustment. It has the screw-in insert there for your adjustment, and dirt gets in those quick and causes lots of problems, and they wear out quick. And this one here will stay tight for you. They're also helping on tire wear. Guys are telling me that their tires are lasting a lot longer because it's not wearing out the inside of the rib on there where it's getting forced up against the disc. It is lasting a lot longer on the tires too.
Hard face both sides?
No, they're not
Just
hard
one?
faced.
Oh, they're, okay.
Yeah, I will do both sides if both sides are wore.
Oh, okay.
But this is actually just MIG welded on there and then
Okay.
stress relieved and then ground back down flat.
Okay.
It is a lot harder than the cast, so it does wear a lot longer and lasts a lot longer than the original cast does. So
Okay.
you definitely want to use that spot if you can on your arms,
Mm.
so it doesn't wear them out.
Okay. So do you do half of them one way and half the other way? Is that how you do
Yeah,
it?
we usually try to match them up.
Match
when we
'em up,
send 'em
okay.
out. If we send out an order that somebody's sending in their cords, we'll match them out, or
Okay.
we'll have some with both sides.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they'll be able to see how to put them. That
Alright.
way they don't end up with some with the wear surface that's been fixed that's going to last longer, and some that are not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're having an issue of them getting out of adjustment down the road. When you install the arm, you'll put in a shim kit, whatever's needed out of these shims, and it'll come with a spacer. The spacer is to go on the outside to take up the difference. This is a shorter unit, and that will save you from having to buy a new bolt when you put it on. When you get this kit, it'll come with everything you need to put it back on. Once
Okay.
you get it set, it stays. You don't have to worry about.
You never re-shim it again?
No, I got guys that said they've been out there 5-6 years and never touched some of those arms.
Wow.
They said since it stays tight,
My word.
they're not wearing the tires,
Yeah.
and they're not wearing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you had to replace disc, maybe then you have to, but it's pretty simple. First place, you have no grease here to play with.
Yeah.
When you do that, you just take your shims and put in wherever you need them,
Mm-hmm.
and tighten her up tight and go. You're not going to be having it hanging up, having arms come off, because it actually loosens the bolt because they get seized
Yeah.
up. These are remanufactured arms that we do. We can either do your arms, you can send them in, or we can do an exchange where we have arms already that are done, and you can use your cores for the exchange.
Yeah.
I know, I don't paint them up. I
Yeah.
want them to see what I do. That's the way they're going to get them back.
Yeah.
If they want to paint them, they can
Yeah.
rattle can them real
Yeah.
quick and have them back on. But Here I've got a cutout version of the arm so you can see what it looks like on the inside. We've got a little bit of a shoulder that we leave inside there that goes in between these two bearings on the outer part. But the bearings are held in tight together. You can tighten them up and don't hurt the bearings. This is a cutout version so you can see good what it looks like. Again, we got double roller and a single roller bearing. We got a lot of bearing in there doing the strength.
So you've got actually have a third more bearing than you would have if you just had the single.
Right.
And then what about thinness here? Does that ever bother you or anything on?
I have done thousands of these arms and I've never had one break.
Really?
And
okay.
Nobody's ever brought one back to me that's cracked across there. We mill those out, we press them in with a press fit, and no, we've never had anything break there. Occasionally somebody will bend one slightly if they hit a rock. Up in the Dakotas, they have a lot of rocks in their fields.
Yeah.
In that case, you can try to bend it back, but it'd probably be best just to get a new arm because it probably won't quite fit right. It's tweaked.
Yeah.
It's really important that these arms sit on the planter right, this way and this way. If they're off, they won't work right. So it's really important on them. We got a lot of bearing in there. We're not under bearing. So the strength is there. It stays tight. I also use triple lip sealed bearings when I order them. So keep the dirt out. They're just a few cents more is all for that type of seal. But we've had these out 7 years now and they're working great for everybody. We haven't had any bearings go out yet. Now some of those planters have been out there running 4,000 plus acres a year on a 24-row planter and 5-6 years on some of them, and they're working great. Nobody's had bearings go out yet. When they do go out, you can replace these two bearings for about 14 bucks to the right supplier. So it's a very cheap fix on that.
Oh yeah.
When that day comes, and we don't know when that'll be yet. One other thing we didn't mention that we get rid of an issue is when a John Deere gauge arm sits on there and goes up and down, it moves in and out here following that thread. And it does it the opposite way on the other side because it's following that thread. So the arm comes up and goes out on this side and it comes up and goes in on this side. So when you adjust them, you've got to have them up to do that. With these arms here, they're parallel. They do not go in and out when they come up. They stay straight and work freely.
You don't have this causing it to put force out on it.
Then you readjust that part. You think you got it where you need to be, especially in wet conditions when guys have problems. And they come back at the end of the day or the next day and say, I just adjusted that and it's back out of adjustment. And the reason why those threads wear so bad, you only turn that a little bit. Well, you turned it on these threads, but the threads on this are the same spot.
Well, you can see the, the play and stuff in those.
And that's a used arm, so it's looser. But even a new arm will have
a little bit of play.
A little bit of play in it. And there's nothing that's going to keep that. When that works up and down through the field, it just sucks the dirt in really fast, and it wears it out fast, or it plugs it up to where it won't work right.
Can you please tell me which John Deere planters these work on?
They'll work on the 1720s, some of them 1760s on up. Anything older that is a 7000 or 7300, it won't work on. Anything that has the 1-inch shaft coming out off the planter, it won't work on. It has to be ones with the bolt in it, the 16 millimeter metric bolt, and that goes all the way up to the brand new ones. These arms can be used on any of those planters from about a 1760 on up. That's what we've found. We only remanufacture John Deere gauge arms or the Schaffert arm. We don't do any of the other aftermarkets. We've had issues with them. So for now, that's the only arms I will take in to do or take in on core trade when we do these.
Are you planning on doing anything for Case IH or Kinsey or
Some of the Kinsey,
White Agco?
Some of the Kinsey guys have talked to me. There's one or two that are maybe going to try it with me on them. Again, the Kinsey planter has to be a 3000 model or newer.
Okay.
Because they have a 1-inch shaft in them. We'd have to cut that shaft down, tap it, or turn it down so the bearings will slide over it. because we can't get a bearing to go over a 1-inch shaft and still fit inside of these housings.
It's got to be 16 millimeter.
Yeah, 16
Okay.
millimeter bolt or a 5/8 if we was going to go to a
Yeah.
Kinsey, but all. Okay, if you have any questions, get a hold of Schaffert Manufacturing, and they will talk to you about it, and you can put your order in with them.